So there you go. Now you can get started.
Good morning, everybody. All right. So today's topic of conversation is listing price reductions and ongoing follow-up for listings. Here's the thing. There's a couple of y'all out there. I want some input from people. You guys know who the visionaries are on this one. I want you guys to share some knowledge of what's about to happen. We are about to get to the point where listings won't sell in a day. Hear me out. There's a market out there. It actually has happened before. You got to go back around 10 years or so, but we were in a market where listings would sit on the market for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And it was in a declining pricing position. So we had to actually get reductions to get in front of them. Does anybody here think that is going to happen again, where we're going to have an increased inventory and homes won't sell in one day? I see one hand up there, two hands, terrific, 3, 4. Anybody that has something they want to add to that to further validate that this is coming? Leslie, go ahead. If your hand's up for a conversation, say something. Anybody jump in, guys. I want a little conversation on this, please. No one?
It's already happening. For me right now, it's already happening. You're starting to see days on market increase. You're starting to see after the weekend, if things aren't going pending, you're seeing, you know, 10, 15, 20, $25,000 price decreases. So it's definitely here, guys. And we need to make sure that we're educating our sellers and setting the right expectations when we're taking that listing.
Great point. And something I want to make sure I don't forget to say this. The time to set the expectations is at the listing presentation when you're setting it up. It doesn't mean that you have to take a price that is where you know it to be perfect, because they are going to fight you on that. They still have an illusion that the market is different than it is. But you have to be able to keep coming back and coming back to what you've originally said. This market is about to get a little more dicey across the country. Now, we have a fair amount of us who are in the Florida market. Florida is a little more insulated than is going to be something like in Arkansas or Illinois or something like that. We're going to see a little more stability in our market, but it doesn't mean that it's not changing dramatically. And your skill set, getting listings, and just as a recap, your database is probably your strongest place to have your business grow. If you are not focused on your database, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. I have a genuine concern. DeFalco, Fred, I got to call you in on this one if you don't mind. Your input is extremely valuable. Folks, as the market starts to shift, it is mission critical that your relationships with people that already know you, love you, and trust you is strong. Your database will outdo any marketing done by Zillow, Opendoor, and OfferPad most of the time. It is what we are known for. Our relationships are what we trade on. Your database is powerful. DeFalco, Fred, do you validate that? You think that's pretty straightforward, or he may be working on something? I see him concentrating.
No, absolutely. It's and it's so disheartening to watch everyone struggle. You know, I want to farm. I want to do this. Why should I put an ad on? Someone called me the other day. Knew with us, said, "Hey, I'm gonna spend $900 a month on this program. What do you think about it?" I said, "Let's talk about your database." They don't have their database straight. And I go, a mistake. You can't do that. Why are you going to do that to yourself and your family and cheating all the people that are in your database? And they had 1,500 contacts in their telephone, and they were ready to spend $900 a month. So it's absolutely crazy. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a thing called a halftime show, George, because tomorrow is halftime for our year.
Yep.
This upcoming half, you've got to have your database straight. It's just. The people deserve you. They deserve you for sure.
100%. And Fred brought up something real important. Y'all need to remember this, that literally on Friday, which is the 1st of July, I believe, I'm sure of it actually, that is the beginning of the 4th quarter of this year. What you do for the next 3 months will affect the last 3 months of your year. Your momentum is mission critical. So I want you all to remember that every one of you is a listing agent, and every one of you is a we, not an I. You are not alone. That is the beauty of what we do in the GPS group, agents helping agents, partnering, growth partnership and synergy. Think about this. I want you to have a high level of confidence because your partners are incredibly strong real estate agents. By proxy, so are you because you are the partner. You're the conduit. Your listing game has to be tops. There is a saying that starts forever. We've talked about it. It's the reason we're doing this series of listing series for the last month. Listings to live. Now, a vast majority of people will chase the buyers. And I totally understand the dynamic behind that because it's easier to get and it's right now business. Folks, buyers are very valuable. If you have them, that is tremendous because it's about to come into season for buyers where they're going to have choices and it becomes more equally weighted. However, your listing abilities, your listing skills are mission critical to your long-term success and quite honestly, your long-term happiness. So I want you, every one of you, to have in your mind and constantly say, I'm a listing agent, I'm a listing agent, I'm a listing agent. And remember, and I mean this sincerely, Ollie, pay attention right now. Everybody, focus. Give me your eyes right here. Everyone. Your business partner sold 5,000 homes, was the top agent for Keller Williams in the world. That's me. That's your business partner. And I'm not bragging on me, but I want to infuse to you that you have partners and you don't have to be this unbelievable person right out the gate. You already are. And your partners around you are up to the task with you. Do not get held up and, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Yes, you can because you're surrounded by partners. And those partners make all the difference. You're a listing expert. Go take a listing because your partners are the best there are at negotiating. You're going to be amazing at marketing. If you want to know how to market a listing, it's so easy. Listings to leads, $40 a month. Take the listing. It will turn into a buyer and probably another listing. And that's the best part about listings for all of you. In your mind, get it. I am a listing agent. And say that to yourself 50 times a day, whatever it takes. And when you're having conversations with people, never forget who you are. Never forget the power that you wield, the fact that you have at your fingertips a gentleman who's been in real estate for almost 50 years and has done more in his career than we've ever dreamed of. And that's the Godfather, Fred DeFalco. You got me as a business partner. You have Claire as a business partner who ran offices, Deep as a business partner. I'm looking around the room. It doesn't matter who you, Liz is a business partner. Dean is a business, guys, we're in this together. It is mission critical that you start using the we and not the I. And remember that you are a listing agent because your partners are listing agents with you. We will negotiate together if we have to. Any questions you have, we're going to get answered. This is the perfect conduit for I have a question because we have so many experts at any time. Remember this and put in your mind, I'm a listing agent. That being said, I'm on a listing appointment. We're going to dive right into it. The initial conversation. We've done values. We've covered how to have those conversations on values. And remember, what you're looking for are the 2 and probably 3 homes that an appraiser absolutely can't get past. They can't, without writing a very long exception report, not use this home. This is important that you have that foundation. If you've got any challenges on that, there's a class that is in the GPS Global Partners that is how to do valuations, and it focuses on this specifically. But here's the part that's important. When you're opening up your presentation, you're doing your financial presentation with your clients, excuse me, one thing you're looking for, you're in your neighborhood, and inside of that big neighborhood, there's probably a smaller subdivision. I'm just throwing that out there. This is an easy way to do it for generic purposes. What homes inside that smaller subdivision is an appraiser absolutely going to use? Why would they have to use that and not choose another one? And that's your argument. The argument would usually be its closest proximity. It's the most recent sale. It's similar in size and character, meaning I've got a non-pool home. I'm using a non-pool home as a great comparable. Find what an appraiser will have to use and then think about that. If I skipped over this one and went, I don't know, a half a mile away, your appraiser is going to have to write a 1-page exception report explaining why that works that way. That won't happen. They won't do it. So knowing the appraised value is mission critical. That's the conversation you want to have. And this initial conversation is, listen, the appraised value of your home is $375,000. And here's the reason why I think they're going to choose these 3 homes. Now, what I do is I actually have them pick the 3 homes that are closest to theirs and then say, why wouldn't we use this one? I want them engaged in that. Now, I know what they're going to come up with. So I actually have the MLS page that I print up, and in there, I'll make adjustments on the paper right there. Okay. On the paper right there. I just remembered this. I can't believe it, Fred. I'm so sorry. But there's a Kelly Kellogg appraisal adjustment inside of the valuation class, and it's available for everybody that wants it. Just take the valuation class or go in there and grab it. There's a Kelly Kellogg adjustment. I'll look for it when we're done as well. It'll give you an idea, but you want to adjust right there and then come up with what the appraised value is going to be. Now, I want you all to be aware, excuse me, in this current market, there's a heck of a good chance they're not going to want to list at the appraised value. They want to push the market a little bit. When you're taking a listing, not that it is valid, but you should know what Zillow is saying, because your clients absolutely will use that as a reference point and be able to have an informed conversation about what Zillow is saying and what the truth is, and help them understand that Zillow perhaps isn't always true, but the bottom line is it has an opportunity to sway the opinion of the seller. So knowing this information is fundamental, especially as you're going to go and show this is appraised. Where do you want to price it? Now, I know the value of the property I'm talking about is $375,000. That's what I've determined that the appraised value of it is, $374,500, something like that. Okay. Hold on. Oh, sorry about that. I was just reading a note that I didn't need. Guys, bottom line, they're going to want to price it more likely than not right now above appraised value, but you have to identify that, because that's what you're going to pull back to. That's what an appraiser will, that's where the value will be. As we find very quickly, the market is starting to shift. We're going to have people that will not pay over appraised value. They won't do it anymore. In a highly competitive market, which we're not out of yet, they will, but be prepared that they won't. Know what the value of the property is in your appraisal, in your adjustments, and then be able to say, listen, I'm willing to take a little bit more. So again, I'm gonna go back to my 375. I say 375, they say 4.25. That's what we want. We want to list it at 4.25. I will tell you, I will take that listing. I'm just telling you the truth. I would take that listing, but I'm having a conversation with them that goes something like this. Listen, I'll be glad to push the market and see what we can do. I don't think we both agree, because we looked at this. It's probably going to appraise somewhere around 340, 375. I think logically we can expect that. Worst case scenario, the opportunity is really 375 to 400. I don't think it'll go higher. I'll be more than happy, and this is the conversation's important, more than happy to partner with you in the sale of your home. And I think 425, well, a little aggressive. I would hate not to put every effort behind it. Now, I've just validated what the seller is interested in. You know, if he says 450, I'm going to say that's too high, and I'm going to have to argue it down. And as your skill set increases, of course, you want to get it closer. The perfect scenario is, for me, at 375, I say 375 is where we say, 375 is where we think it will appraise. And he says 415. I say, honestly, if 415 is going to happen and we put ourselves in a position of strength, if we listed it at 400, we've got so many more eyes on it. But there's something called a major and a minor search bracket. And this is what you're always looking to move to, because you're bringing more eyes. I think everybody here can agree that it's almost impossible for a buyer to say, well, I want to search for a home between $374,553 and $396,285. Okay, Deborah, dear, I got you muted. There we go. The reason I say that is because that's not how the search brackets are set up. There's called a major search bracket and a minor search bracket. A major search bracket is the hundreds from 400 to 500. The major search bracket is from 400 to 550. That's a major bracket. A minor bracket is the 25s and the 75s. We're always trying to move our clients to a new bracket. If it's a minor bracket, terrific. If it's a major bracket, better. Remember my 375? He wants 415. My mission is, how do I get him to 4? Because truthfully, that puts bunches of more eyes on it. At 415, somebody who's not looking at 400 Above 400 isn't going to see it. At 400, it shows up between 350 and 4, between 3 and 4, between 4 and 5. It shows up more. My goal is to move to that. I would love to, if it were up to me, I'd love to price it at 400,000 so we get plenty more eyes on the property, not 415. I think we have a greater probability of having a multiple offer situation or having at least more interest, and we're a heck of a lot closer to the appraised value. What we both determined is going to be the appraised value. They may opt not for that. They may not opt for that. They said, no, I'm not going to do that. So terrific. Well, why don't we do this? This is important. We're going to look when we place the home on the market at 415. I didn't win that initial conversation, but we're going to do it at 415. I'm cool with that. I am okay with that. I said, but I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for traffic and I'm looking for offers. It is my intention that we should have a high level of traffic, which means the home shows great. It looks terrific. It is described real well, which gets people in the home. If we don't, and we agree that the marketing is phenomenal and the description is phenomenal, the only other option that's not causing traffic is price. And it's important to identify those. So when I have my photos done, I use DeVore Design for all my photos. When I have my photos done, I send it over to the seller and I say, what do you think? I want their feedback. Oh my God, it looks amazing. That's what I thought. Now I'm going to couple that with an incredibly strong marketing position that really showcases your home with a singular job of, we have to agree that this is the best presentation we can to get people to say, I must see it more. I must see more. We want to bring them into the house because nobody will buy it unless they walk through the front door. This is an important conversation to have. So that's what we're looking for in our marketing. And when I do that, one of the things I'm going to do, and I want you to do as well, is when you show them the how or the photos, do not show them on the MLS, show them beforehand and have them go, yeah, that's amazing. And when they see the description, send the description to them for proofing beforehand. And when they offer something, say that's a great idea and add it to it, unless it's completely unreasonable, because your relationship, your partnership, your support is fundamental. This is not a time for confrontation. This is a time for partnership. So I talked to him aggressively in our conversation about, I want a lot of traffic. It's our number one objective, is to increase the traffic and to get offers. If we can get 10 showings and we don't have an offer, we've got a challenge, and it's usually price. If we're not getting showings and we agree the marketing is terrific, the logical thing we need to do is look at our pricing strategy, because, and remember this is true, buyers are incredibly informed. The difference between 3 to 4% overpriced and 3 to 4% priced better is enough to stimulate multiple offers. That's how much they're aware of what's going on in the market. There's a sense of, it's almost visceral, where they're like, this is a great value. I've done price reductions on properties in the last couple of months where we said, all right, let's do a reduction on a property. And then instantly we get 3 or 4 offers on the property. It was too high. And then it became reasonable. And the buyers are like, wow, it's a value now. Fair warning, and this is just a conversation for all of us to have. The longer we're on the market, the more they think there's issue with the home, particularly in a market that sells in 3 to 4 days. If we're on the market for more than a week or two, we probably have a stigma attached to that property at this point. And that's something the seller needs to be aware of as well. Our mission at this point, because the market's changing, is not to be on the market for 3 to 4 weeks. We want to cause high demand. At the time we place it on the market, we want everybody to think it's the best home out there and the best value. And here's why. We get far greater terms when they don't know that it's priced a little over what it should be, and they think that a lot of people are involved, that a lot of interest is in there. So when you're talking to your seller, besides traffic and offers, it's also that first week or two is our best opportunity for the highest price offer with the greatest terms for your success. If you want to price it at 450, Mr. Seller, you're taking away my power, my ability to really make that work. And remember, we know it's only going to appraise for 375 to maybe 400. If you give it to me at 400 and let me market the heck out of it at that, I have a higher probability of going over that than any other way around it. Now, if you want to continue to price it at 450, which I wouldn't take the listing, it's too high. Actually, I may in this market, but that's another conversation. What we're going to do is we're looking for one buyer who absolutely will pay over and has no problem with appraisal and doesn't really care about the value of the property because they're desperate. The challenge is there's a lot of other homes on the market right now, so we're probably never going to find that buyer. It's just going to cost us money. Now, I'm talking fairly quickly about this, but I wanted you to get the idea that the whole principle that we're focusing on right now is being able to identify the value of the property based on the appraised value. And I'm going to show you how to set that up for searches as well in just a minute. And then having a conversation to help the seller understand that the closer we get to where it really will sell, the better it is for him or her, excuse me. That it's all about making sure your clients are well informed. And that's your number one responsibility as a listing agent. It's not to tell them what it's going to sell for. Unless you plan on writing a contract, don't ever come out of your mouth and say it'll sell for this. Okay. You don't have the ability to do so unless you're going to write the contract for it. You let them know what it's going to appraise for based on what we've selected, meaning myself and the seller have selected as a logical homes an appraiser is going to use. Now, can we push it because it's a great property? Absolutely. But do we want to push it up to, in this case, 450 or 415? Perfect scenario is if he says 415, I'm shooting for 400 right there. It'll give me more power. It'll give me more strength negotiating for you. All right. I use a 3-week timetable. You might want to consider a 2-week timetable. If we don't have offers in 2 weeks, we're going to need to make some adjustments because I refuse to let this property get stale on the market. Do you agree with that, Mr. Seller, that we can start with your 415, but if we can't secure an offer that's acceptable to you in those first 2 weeks, I'd like to respectfully request we revisit making this property price point at $400,000 and open it up because it's a new bracket, a new price bracket that we're in, and opening it up to a bunch of more consumer eyes that are looking up to 400,000. I need your home to show up because at 415, they're not seeing it, and it's a great home. So in 2 weeks, if we don't have traffic and we don't have an offer, I'd like to strongly suggest we do that. Would that be acceptable to you? Ask them the hard question. Will that be acceptable to you? No. Okay, tell me why. Or yes. Terrific. Thank you very much. That way we can go forward as a partnership and really work on it. So, a couple things. Those are the initial conversations. Now let's get to the fact that we just placed the home on the market. Now, before we did, they signed off on the photos. They said they were amazing. Great job. Your photographing team did a wonderful job for this. And then you send them over the description. They read that. They're like, oh my God, that's amazing. It sounds so good. Okay. If you're not sure how to do it, write copy.ia and see if that'll help you out. That's something that Ali brought us. It was brilliant. Copy.ia is an opportunity for you. Folks, the next thing is setting up your tools. I'm going to share my screen. I want to show you an MLS setup. And I do this on every listing we have, period. Cool. Can you all see it, Joe? We good? Can you all see my screen? Outstanding. Okay. So I'm going to go to the saved searches that I have, and they should be right up on top. Good enough. So I've got my CMA search. This is the search that I set up when I'm actually doing the CMA form. And you'll notice it says active, pending, and sold. And when I use the map criteria, I've taken this entire community. It's hard to see, but trust me, this is a community of 1,500 homes. It's the one I use as an example all the time. The property we're looking for is actually the subject property is right here. Now, if we put it, let's make it a map so it's easier for our satellite for everybody to see. There you go. A little easier to see right here. Our subject property is right on the water. This is a subdivision inside of the very big community right through here. The first homes an appraiser will use, you and I all know this, are probably going to be right within this community because they can't get past it. Now, our home is 2,000 square feet. This one is 2,100 square feet. Heck yeah, an appraiser is going to use that. They're the same year built, same type of home, single family homes. Here's another one. This is 2,100 square feet. I'm going to say an appraiser will use that as well. So I'm going to identify my appraised properties. And we know how that goes. But I also want to keep in mind what's going on in the entire subdivision or the entire community. And when I'm doing my initial valuation, I'm going to pull this up. But these two I already have printed up. And I'll probably pull another one, which is actually this one. I happen to know it because it's the exact same square footage, but it was built in 1990. So I have the three that I know an appraiser is going to use, and they're already printed up. I bring the MLS pages and I'll adjust them, and we come up with our value of whatever that is. Let's say 375, as we talked about. One of the things I will do is I'm going to save this, and I'm going to make this an automatic search. When I save it, I'll just click on an auto search. Any one of us can do this. And here's what I want you to type in. Urgent. Right in the subject so that you get a copy of it as well, folks. This is mission critical for us here. I'm going to type in on there, urgent. Something just happened to our home or happened to our community around 1234 Cypress Trace. And here's why. When I read it, when George reads it, not when my clients read it, when George reads it, I immediately know the property and I know who it is and I know what the issue is. And that's set up because you can set this up as an immediate notification. That means the second a home comes on the market, they're going to get notified, and so am I. The biggest challenge you will face going forward is going to be, how do you continue to engage and show that you're still working for them 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Folks, we've had properties for 5 months before they sold. Imagine the follow-up required for that. Now, is that right now? No, it's not, but it's coming. It will be a portion of that in the future. What are you going to do to have those ongoing conversations? So when I set this search up, this automatic search that notifies them instantly, I want that search to notify me as well. And it says in the messaging, because we can change the messaging in my MLS, your MLS could do the same thing. Bottom line is, here's what it does. It changes the conversation from they're finding it on Zillow to we've notified them, and I call them right then. Hey, this home, I don't worry about that at all. It's not relevant to us. It's not our market. There's a home that just came on the market in here as well. This is the conversation I'd have. I know it showed up as an urgent notice for us, but it's 3,500 square feet. Our home is 2,000. We're not really in the same market, so I'm not that worried about it. Now, sidebar, you may opt to not have as broad of a market as I've selected on that one, where I've taken the entire community. You may say, I want to narrow that down to be really what we're looking for. Here's something else that I would suggest you want to do. And then obviously, every time something shows up in your urgent notification, it is really important that you reach out to your client. They will love that you're engaged. The conversations can be, hey, it's no big deal. Everything's cool. Nothing to worry about, to, oh my God, that's going to affect our ability to sell first. Are we the first one in line, or is somebody else in line in front of us? These are ongoing conversations that need to happen every Wednesday. We're going to get to that. That's the eating the frog day, is when you have that follow-up, that's scheduled follow-up with your clients. But you also want to have those urgent conversations because it shows that you care, that you're engaged, that you're watching, and you literally are the expert. This is mission critical. I can't get past how important this is. All right. I want to show you another search that I would encourage everybody to set up. This one is a zip code search. So what I've done on this property, and by the way, the property I'm currently using is in 32825. That's the zip code that it's called. So what I've done on this is I've taken a property and it's 2,000 square feet. So I chose 1,500 to 3,000 square feet. I said the year, I definitely wanted to include that because I didn't want a bunch of homes that were from the 1960s. A relevant home to mine built in 2001 would be 1990 and further and newer. I'm fine with that. And it's a single family home. So I, of course, selected that so I could condos and the townhomes out of place. Active and pending, and this is important. I'm listing the home today, right now. This is my we didn't get a buyer search. Why did we not get one? And it is absolutely fundamental in my listing for my clients because I want them and I want to be aware of what just happened. Now, this is not an immediate notification, but check this out. So I put the date in here from 6/28/2022. As I'm moving forward on this one, it goes to October 31st, 2022. It allows me to catch anything that's currently active on the market, but more importantly, that changes depending or comes in as new active. Now, this is something that's set out every morning, Monday through Saturday morning, Monday through Friday morning. I don't do it on Saturday. Monday through Friday morning, I set these up and I want them notified. It said, this is our competition. And that's what it says. It says our competition for 1234 Cypress Trace Landing or whatever that is. Make sure you put in your email what the address of the subject property is, because you won't know it. I'm going to go back to share this again. I want to show you what this looks like. And I'm going to change this. And let's say we've changed this one to, let's say we listed it at 6/05/2025. So I click on these results. Here's all of our actives. Here are the properties that have a similar criteria that went pending while we were actively on the market. Now, I went back about 3 weeks. So of course there's a lot of them, but let's pretend it was just this home right here, this first one that I'm checking right now. Now, it doesn't really matter a whole lot about it, but it's 1,800 square feet and it was on the market for $399,000. It doesn't have a pool, neither do ours. So it's 200 square feet smaller than our subject property, and it went under contract at $399, and we're listed at $415. We lost a buyer. That was one of our clients. Our home fit those criteria. How did we lose a buyer? And that's the conversation I'm having with my client. So when a property goes pending or comes new to the market on this one, which is my daily search, I want to have an informed conversation with how come it wasn't us. Now, how do we have those conversations? I'm going to share that with you in a couple seconds. Zoom is a great way at which to do so. Huge way at which to have ongoing conversations with them. And I would encourage you to schedule that so that you can share your computer and say, why is this one not something? Why did we lose our client? Well, and what we just covered with that 399 property, there's a really good chance the only reason we lost it is because they were only willing to look up to 400,000. Because we're almost exactly the same. In fact, we're 10 years newer. Why did this one not sell? Why did they choose this and not us? So I open it up, I look at the pictures and I say, how does this compare to our home? And I do it with them. You have got to make them super educated. They do not get offended. I promise you, they will not get offended if you're going to help educate them, because you're not saying this is what's happening to you. You did this, look at this. You're examining what's going on in the current marketplace. Hold on one second. Half story, not sure that went out. I'm gonna have to read those in a couple minutes because you're gonna pull me off of this. These two searches are critical to what your success will be with your listing properties. First off, because you're obviously communicating what the true value of this property is, but equally importantly is the ongoing conversations which are required. I want to challenge every single person on here, whether you think you're a listing agent or not. By the way, if you don't think you're a listing agent, you're wrong. You are. If you say, I love working with buyers, it's because you haven't worked with listings. I know this because my wife said, oh, I love working with buyers. I'll never work with buyers. She cannot handle working with buyers anymore. That's not true. She's phenomenal at it. But the bottom line is she knows that she prefers listings, and so will you. So you all are listing agents. Don't forget that. You have to have the skill set at which we just covered on how do we communicate what the value of the property is? How do we communicate what we feel it should be, knowing the difference between major and minor search brackets and helping them move their price point to the newer, better, or the better bracket. In our scenario, 415 is nowhere near as strong as having it listed at 400,000 when I know it'll appraise for 375. We all agree we have to help the seller understand why that is important. And the reason for it is we want as much activity as possible, as opposed to looking for that singular one buyer, because that singular one buyer, based on the other search we have set up already, has a ton of homes in the zip code at which to look from. So I have these set and ready before I go on the appointment. And I let them know I'm going to have this show up every single morning. And if there's something that comes in here that freaks us out, that either undermines our price or is indicating that we lost a client, we need to talk about why we didn't win that scenario. What will happen is that in doing so, your seller is going to start to believe, rightfully so, that you are the expert and that you are knowledge-based. Under no time, at no circumstances during this process are we actually throwing them under the bus or doing anything. We're simply having a conversation about what's truly happening in the market. And we've strategically set up an immediate area search, which is, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood. Should we talk about it? That gives us validity, because at that point, you just pick up the phone. You're like, Bob, do you see that one just came on the market? No, I didn't. All right, it's in your inbox. Take a look at it real quick. That one makes me a little uncomfortable, man. We need to talk about this one. Call me when you're done. Let's have a conversation about that property, because they're priced at 360 and they're almost the exact same home as ours. That freaks me out, man. I mean, because I'd hate for them to steal our buyer. Do y'all see how that's a very powerful conversation? And because it's immediate, I get to be the first one to make the phone call, which means I'm on point, not my client. Some of you out there have experienced this. I have. This sucks. George, what about that new home that came on the market? What home? Huh? That does not look good for me. You have to be the expert. Make sure you can do it. And I'm asking you to use systems to set it up for yourself so you don't have to worry about it. It just shows up. It is what it is. This is it. You're having conversations that are real, factual, and it's not your opinion. And boy, that's valuable. All right. I do on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are called Eating the Frog. Every Wednesday, I update my sellers with what's going on in the market and how to go about doing so. I want to share with you a tool that you may want to consider using. All of you have experienced this before. It's called Snagit. It's part of the TechSmith package. And it has an annual fee of $62. I'm positive it's an annual fee of $62. This is probably the best communications tool that I use currently. And I want you guys to see how I use it. So I'll share my screen one more time. This is TechSmith. And Tiffany, you know what we're looking for. I'm going to grab it. Can you see the capture button on your screen? Okay, cool. I know because you use it. Tiffany uses it quite frequently as well. Thank you very much. I just want to make sure of it. So this is a capture screen, and I can do video or I can do image. It is a phenomenally powerful tool. I'm going to do a video, and I'm going to use the MLS as what we've set up for them, and I'll show you how I do it. So I click on this. I've got video set. It does not recording system audio, which means what's inside my computer. I can opt for that if I want to, but I'm going to capture this. Draw a box around it, get rid of that ugly face, press record. It'll give me a countdown. Hey, John, it's George Philbeck. Now, if I wanted to have my face on the camera, I may just start with this. Hey, John, it's George Philbeck. I wanted to give you an update on the property. We've got a couple homes in here, and the one I'm really freaked out about is this one, which just went pending. And you'll notice that this is right down the street from us, and it's $399. It's almost exactly the same home. I thought we'd take a real quick look at what the photos look like on this one. And this one doesn't seem to be as in good a shape as your property, so I'm not uber concerned about it. However, we do have some other properties that just came on the market, like this one right here for $370 at Norcross. And this one I'm a little concerned with because of the price point at $370,000, and it's got a pool and it's 1,700 square feet. This may be some big competition, so let's keep our eye on that one. I don't want this one to sell with a few clients out there. By the way, John, we've been on the market now for about 25 days. And look at this. We've had over 15 properties that have sold that we didn't get the buyer on. And I'm concerned about all of them. Not much of them I'm that worried about, but I am concerned that this one's coming on there. Do y'all get what I'm doing? Now, what I'll do, I don't know if you can see this. You probably can't. There's a start and stop button. So I'm going to stop it. And it should show up on the screen again. I hope. There we go. This is where it stopped. I click on the share button and I click screencast. Now, what I just videoed, what I just captured, what is being prepared right now in around 3 minutes will show up as something that I'm going to I'll paste it and show you exactly what it looks like when it works. This is my update tool that I use every single week. I use it for multiple things. but I use it every single week. And if you go to, it's called techsmith.com. I'm going to put it in the, hold on a second. That's the link for techsmith.com. The cost on that one, you can get a free trial under products. You want to go to products. Well, let's share this real quick so you can see it. I love this platform more than I could possibly imagine. Tiffany will validate that for me. Under products, go to Snagit, give it a free trial, see if you like it. If you want to buy it, here's the actual cost for you. It's $62 and it's an annual fee. It really, really makes a big difference. Back to my search criteria and what I'm looking at. This is still thinking and it's still capturing the Snagit. It's creating that Snagit file. When it's done, it'll give me the ability to copy and paste. I send that out on a weekly basis so they actually get to physically see in their camera. I get to communicate to them directly while sharing my screen and what I'm looking at. And I promise you, if you've got the regular updates, usually 1 or 2 times a week is what will occur when you set up your searches properly and you're following up with them, they won't go anywhere. We had an initial conversation where, listen, if we don't get an offer in 2 weeks and we don't get the traffic and we don't get an offer, we're going to have to look at the price point. We know that 415 is too high. 400 is about the top of where we want it. And 375 is where it's going to appraise. We're talking about homes that come on the market on a regular basis that are actually harming us, or one that went pending, excuse me, that we didn't sell. How come? Why they choose this one and not this one? Your conversations will go a very long way to your success. This is the real time. It's just finishing up right now. Once it clicks on that last one, that'll go away in a second. This screencast link, you can text, you can email, you can do whatever you want. And this is what's happened. Oh, so it's still refreshing. It's still building it out right now, but that's where it would play. And it will play on a text message. It'll play inside of embedded email. It can play anywhere. It is a great tool for communications with your clients. And it saves you from a 2-hour conversation like this, where they want to talk about why things aren't working. You're on point. This is a powerful time management tool that you must employ. I do my weekly updates every Wednesday. Here's why I want you to encourage you when you're taking your listings to let them know that your partners and you review everything in detail on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Wednesdays are the days that I follow up with my clients and we dive deep into what is going on in the current market. Now, that doesn't mean, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, that we're not going to be speaking a lot more than once a week. But what that means is that on once a week on Wednesdays, with your permission, I want to have a deep dive conversation about what is happening within the entire market. This is what it looks like at the end result, by the way. By pressing play. Philbeck. Now, if I wanted to have my face on the camera, I may just start with this. Hey, John, it's George Philbeck. I wanted to give you an update on the property. That's what they get. For $62 a year, that'll give you the ability to communicate at a level that is probably above what you're currently doing or planning on doing. I would encourage you to tell them on Wednesdays, we do that for sure. You've got your Wednesday calls. Absolutely. I want you to set up the searches so that they get notified instantly when something in their neighborhood happens, because I promise you they will know about it before you and you will look foolish. And our mission is not to look foolish. We're looking like the most powerful person. Make sure you're copied on these notifications, folks. Now, this is something that we've touched on, and I wanted to include it in here before I close this down because this is mission critical. When you're holding listings for a month or 2 months, a strategy of ongoing marketing, while not required, is going to be important to your clients. What are you continuing to do to market my home? The truth of the matter is, between all of us, this is the gospel. This is unfortunately the truth. If the home is in good condition, or whatever condition the home is in, doesn't really matter. Price is the only factor affecting its sellability or not. If it's underpriced, you're going to get lots of offers on it. If it's overpriced, you're not going to get any offers on it. If a seller wants to price it over, terrific, but understand that will probably inhibit having as many eyes on it. And then we're going to go back to we want traffic and we want offers. If we're not getting them, we've already agreed the marketing is phenomenal. If we're not getting them, then it has to be something else, which would be price. It's not like we could pick up the location and move it into a different part of the community. So we have to deal with the cards we're dealt with. Your conversations with them are easy to have more than once a week by setting up these searches. It will do the work for you. However, they're going to want to know what you're ongoing and continuing to do to market their home. I'm not going to dive deep into that one, but I would go, and this is my personal opinion, we do listings to leads. And as a market tails on and we've got longer, every week I want to roll out something different. Here's a newsletter for you to copy and paste and send out to every one of the people in your social media, or just post on your social media to help. I've created this website for your page as well. There's a lot that can be done inside of listings to leads, which is an incredible listing support power tool. It gives you different steps. You need to dive into that should you decide to use it. You can get a free trial and have fun with that too. And say, okay, what are the next 5 or 6 weeks? What do they look like? What am I going to do every week? The most powerful thing is obviously we place it on the MLS. We get it all squared away that week 1. But starting in the second week, when they haven't gotten any offers and they're very, very low on traffic in there, they're going to come to you and they're going to think, well, you just stopped marketing. No, I didn't. So what's your next most powerful tool you can bring out? And I would encourage you, don't bring them all out the first time, because the truth is the MLS and syndication is the most powerful tool out there, period. They're still going to want to see that you're doing other things. Most of the annoyance that occurs when you take a listing, because if you take a listing and it's not selling, I promise you the sellers aren't happy. It can be a very, very stressful situation. Communication takes care of 99% of those issues. Determining the price, knowing what it'll appraise for. Here's a quick recap for everybody. That is mission critical. Those searches should be set up as automatic notification searches. Inside of your price determination, see what is an appraiser going to use? Those are immediates. It's usually inside the community. What happened that you need to know about and your client needs to know about? The daily ones are what's going on in the active market within basically the zip code, or maybe even 2 zip codes, but then it's refined. It's now within a price point. It's if you're looking for the ideal client that they're looking in your zip code, these are all the homes they have an option to look at. Remember to set up the pendings to show what went under contract, not previous, just let the pendings be what they are, but put a specific date if your MLS will allow you. In my case, it does. So if I were listing a property today, I would say I want to see anything that goes pending from 6/28/2022 through October 31st, 2022. So new pendings only. I lost a buyer only shows up. A property goes pending. Why wasn't it us? Having the seller look at that is wicked powerful. And that's where the Zoom call works, or the Snagit works. Hey, this one went under contract. Looking at it, the question is that one superior to our home or inferior? Chances are it went under contract because it's superior for less price. Having a seller identify that goes a long way towards your listing successfully closing. All right. I want to open this up for anybody and everybody for conversations on that. That's it. And I've got some things in the chat that I need to check on real quick. Hopefully that was a help. Listings are what are going to sustain your business, period. Joe, do me a favor, find the Florida State Group link and put in the chat box where it is in the training calendar, so that we have that, because Liz is going to be live in just a few minutes and we should all be there for. I want to go check it out. Anybody have any comments to make on that? Whoever said I do. Daywood, is that you?
Oh, that would, yeah. So I just want to say, I know this is a bit of a regurgitation of what you said, but I've, in the last week or so, actually got a lot more listings, and I've been in this compromising situation where sellers are obviously still trying to push the market, even though there's indication of other listings that are cheaper, far more superior, and so on and so forth. And I just wanted to basically say thank you to your teaching today, because you really empowered me with a lot of tools that I can actually go back and very subtly just present the evidence to them, so that the idea kind of becomes their idea to reduce the price or become more realistic of where the market is shifting towards at this point in time. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
I appreciate that greatly. Thank you very much, DeWitt. Appreciate that. Deep, you got your hand up. Shoot.
Yeah, same thing. Piggyback on what you started the conversation. Thank you for doing that, first of all. Second of all, when George was talking about, putting your searches for your buyers at 400,000, we are in a market that you should change your searches to 425 or 450, because now it's the time to negotiate for your clients. The way the market is shifting, I put a listing on the market last Friday, and we had 4 showings. This is Winter Garden, 2017 house, right where the price needs to be, something sold very close to it, and it's still not getting the eyes and balls that's coming in. Compared to 2 months down the road, we would have had 21 showings by now and multiple offers, and people are just having the same conversation. Oh, the paint needs to be done. So guys, think a little bit outside. You guys learning something from people like George, who's been in the business forever. Market is shifting. Shift your mindset. Change with the market. Change with what's happening around you. If you just kind of keep on thinking you're going to find the right buyer who's going to pay this, pay that, it's not happening. Buyers are getting smarter. The market dictates by itself. Numbers dictate by itself.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Krista, you have your hand up. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thanks for this, George. I have a question. I have a listing that I put 10 days ago. A lot of activity during open houses, 2 showings, no offers. My Zillow number, as everybody sees Zillow, is $100,000 above my price.
Wow.
So this is where I'm on a conundrum, because I know it should be probably $50,000 less, so we get the activity. It's at 850. I really want it to be at 750, but the Zillow is 950. So this is like, I can't really argue too much with my seller.
Well, Krista, I want to challenge you on that one, that you can, but it's not an argument. It's letting the seller do a discovery. Start back with, what is the appraiser going to have to use? Because use your numbers that are accurate in our market. For traditional sale under $800,000, we have a 90% appraisal. 90% of the purchases are going to be appraised value properties, unless the cash ones are usually looking for a deep discount or a save. Not all the time, but let's take a look at what the appraiser has to use. Now that has to ground him. And when we did the other one, Krista, where we're looking at the active market, what's available out there, and more importantly, what went pending since we've been on the market. Why did we lose a buyer? For that one, and allow them to discover that, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have lost that buyer. Homes are selling, but mine isn't. How come? Well, based on what we just discovered, that home was higher upgraded and less expensive. And then you can go to another active and say, now we've got these that we're looking at too. A couple of these are pretty nice. I think, and I like to say this, my fear is that, well, in this case, and I'll share it real quick, Krista, because I think this is relevant. My fear is, Mr. Seller, that this property on Norcross, which is almost exactly the same, is higher upgraded, lower priced, and has a pool. That one's going to be the next home to sell, in my opinion. And that means now we've got one less that we're competing against. Great, but there's others out there. Does that make sense, Krista?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to be, I guess, just showing the data, and hopefully she'll make her own decision.
That's it. And that we don't want to tell them. And I'm with you. It's very awkward to say, hey, you know what? You're just an idiot. Your price is wrong. And you're stupid. That's never gone over very well with me. And it doesn't with them, but having a conversation of, let's take a look at this. And guys, remember, this is from the beginning. Krista, you have to go back and do a little bit of pickup on there.
Yeah.
But it will make a huge difference. And the ongoing conversations that you're having about facts and about the market is exactly why they hired you.
Right.
Okay. Because you have the knowledge and control that knowledge. Zillow is not always right. And I tell them Zillow, unfortunately, uses an algorithm. There's no options for it. Krista, thank you. Did that help? Awesome. All right. So we have our newest partner, Alec Anderson, who's probably one of the smartest people I know. He's been blowing up my text with stuff in there. Alec, give us a hit. You got something to say? Your hand's up. What's up, bro?
I'm sorry. I'm on my way to Tampa to the airport. I wanted to ask, is there 2 to 3 things in regards to listings that you could go over with us that is significant and different from everyone else on the market and unique to you in both acquiring listings, holding listings, and liquidating listings?
Well, there's a short order of just little things to do. What I do differently than almost everybody on the market, is my opinion, is really what I just spoke of. And it's speaking about irrefutable truths. And the conversations are never accusational. They're never about this is what it is. I never tell them that I help them self-discover. What we've always done in the past when we've carried 30 and 40 listings, which is not unusual. We did that in 2005, 6, 7, and 8. We would make sure that we were communicating more than anybody else. The marketing is what it is. The syndication is the most powerful tool. So that's not really this secret sauce, but we always have something else that we're going to be doing. Like obviously the first weekend is we're going to do a big open house. The second weekend, we're going to send something to them that they can push out to all of their people. You have to strategize on that and differentiate yourself in 2 ways: being the most knowledgeable person out there and being the best communicator possible. The biggest complaints that everybody has about their homes when they're not selling is my agents don't communicate with me.
And they don't know shit.
And and thank you for the language, but you're
Oh,
absolutely
sorry.
right.
And they don't know as much as they should, especially for higher price points when
That's correct.
they jump in and they want luxury listings or they want to deal with investors. And sometimes back when I had agents, I had to explain to them like, hey, back then the 200-300 was the sweet spot, but they wanted $400,000 or $500,000 leads. And I had to explain like, hey, these buyers or sellers know more than you do. They've done more transactions than you do. And you walk into that playing field back then, again, 400 and 500 was usually the threshold. And it was a high negativity rate versus a positivity rate.
Yep.
And I was just, if there's 1 or 2 significant things that I could utilize to pump the numbers to the roof.
Well, you've got some strategies we're going to bring up probably next week that are ways at which to entice your listings, to make your listings more desirable. That is, it takes an entire day for us to do that. So we're an entire class, and we're going to do that because there are some ways to make your property more financially advantageous. And Alec is a genius when it comes to this. We'll cover that next week because I'm going to hop in just a second. However, I do have Dina with her hand up. Thank you, Alec. I appreciate it. Dina, what's going on? Dina, you're on mute, hon.
Okay, I'm talking 2 questions. I'm talking to someone, a potential client, and he's, he's educated when it comes to real estate. And he says, I'm going to go get an appraisal and then I'm just going to price my house at that. How do you feel about that, George?
I don't have a problem with that, but I still have the same conversations that you were talking about right now. I said that's actually a very, very intelligent way in which to do so, because that appraisal is something that we can actually attach to the MLS, which further supports that our price is right on. It's a very, very good strategy at which to go about doing if they're going to do it. So that's amazing. That's really cool. And by the way, when I sell it, Mr. Seller, when we do that, this is just me, is what I'll do. It said, because I believe so strongly in that, I'm actually going to reimburse you for that appraisal when it closes, because it's part of my marketing strategy. I love that you're willing to do that, and I support it. And I'll reimburse you for it at closing for the appraisal out of the commission.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
and then
win-win.
quickly, George, another client, I've ran into this before. They want to price the house at a certain price, but they're looking at a home near them. They're like almost in an argumentative state of mind because, well, that one sold for that much. And the reason in my mind is because they've updated the home. Are we supposed to bring that up to them or show them the pictures? What do we do?
I'm sorry. I apologize. I was trying to find out where our friend is. Would you repeat
Yeah,
that?
no, I want to go too.
Please?
When a potential client wants to price their house higher because they see other ones around them are higher, but the other homes around them have been updated inside and theirs have not. How do you explain that to them without making them feel bad, I guess?
Open up one picture, open up their house. You got a picture of the other house. Look at this home. Does your kitchen look like this? No. Okay, that's cool. And then I make my adjustments. Remember, I brought my MLS pages so that when I'm doing this is my initial appraisal. My initial valuation is what we're talking about. After it's on the market, you've already established where you're at. If it's on the market,
Right.
you're locked in. But on your initials, I of course I open up homes. I bring my computer. I said, these are the homes. Let's take a look at them. And said, well, what about this home? This home's really great. Yeah, that's terrific. But there are 4 other homes that are closer in size, closer in age, closer to the property within the community. What would make an appraiser not use these homes? Because they're going to have to write an exception report. It's really, really important that you know your market and know what you're doing. But really, all you're doing is helping him discover what an appraiser will use. And you brought up the condition of that property, which is a critical question. The bottom line is the answer to that is take a look at the inside of the property while you're at their home. And they're like, well, ours is better. How so? You have linoleum on the floor. You've got, you don't have granite, and your cabinets are 32-inch cabinets, and your appliances are yellow. Everything else is stainless steel with high energy stuff. They can't, if you have a client that won't look at logic, don't tell them logic, let them discover logic. But if they won't do it, if you said between these two, which look better, and they're like, well, mine's better. How come yours has no stainless, no new appliances? This is a complete remodeled kitchen. How is yours better? Well, because it's mine. Really? I mean, do you see, most people won't go stupid on you. If they do, be careful where you're at, because you may be dealing with them more. Well, I still want to price it this way. I understand that, but how is it possibly going to sell at that price point? We've looked at the appraised value. You and I both determined that it should be, that it'll appraise at 375, throwing out a number. Yet you want to price it at 450. I'm not arguing that 450 is hold on.
Okay, you're okay, George.
Yep, I had to get out of there because it's making some background noise. It's all in your conversation and it's in your knowledge base, but you can win this every single time.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Tiffany, I'm going to turn it over to you because I want to go check out Liz in there. Y'all have an amazing day. God bless you. Remember, DeFalco's next week, or excuse me, tomorrow for Fred DeFalco. Let's do this. I'll catch up with you guys shortly.
Talk to you later.